This Fine Gael government is selling the core message of this summer economic statement with constant reference to the past. And we are reminded that it's been 10 years since the worst economic crisis of the state. Yet there's little reference to the people and the practices which actually caused the crisis. And it's simply not good enough to say that that as a state we have to ensure that if the same rotten practices are carried out, we're able to deal with it. The rationale for a rainy day fund is directed at those who continue to struggle in their daily lives. Now, we have to remember, we talk about the rainy day fund, and absolutely, certainly, yes, there's merit in it if the most vulnerable people in society are looked after. But we also have to remember, what did we do with the last rainy day fund? We gave it to the bankers. So is there an expectation there again that the same things are going to happen? So rather than investing in services that would improve the standard of living of our citizens, they're being told that they must hold off and we cannot be sure that there will not be a return to the bad old days. That certainly doesn't fill people with confidence. But why is that? Surely now we have enough checks and balances in place not to see a repeat of the excesses, the negligence and indeed the criminal activity that caused the last crisis. It seems to be that Fine Gael are in government. We can never be completely sure that white-collar crime and corruption are dealt with. So little wonder that the idea of a rainy day fund is a hand-me-down from my friends on the left, from Fianna Fáil.
We just sit on the left now. We're not on the left.
At the Finance Committee, if you would please not be so rude, Senator, please. Yes, left, right, or centre.
Thank you, Senator.
Sure, they're all the same.
Senator
you know,
Senator.
That's the point. It's a cosy setup. No, it's just it's an objective observation. At the Finance Committee recently, we examined the heads of the bill for the legislation underpinning the Rainy Day Fund. But contrary to what Minister Donoghue has previously claimed, there was no mention of the corporation tax receipts. Now, the fact is that there would be a legal obligation on the state to put in €500 million a year if there was a decrease in the corporation tax receipts. Now, there are many families who are only one unexpected bill away from being in serious financial difficulty. This could be the car breaking down, an unexpected medical appointment or urgent repairs that are needed to the house. We have over 700,000 people still on the waiting list, and every day across the state there's an average of 400 people off trolleys in our hospitals. I have a man who's been waiting 4 years in absolutely excruciating pain, and he cannot have the treatment that he needs because the resources aren't there to do it. I have brought it up with the Minister since day one I came into the Seanad. And he is not just one person. There are many, many people. So yes, the concept of a rainy day fund, fine. But how can we leave people in that state and say, never mind, we have a rainy day fund, and at the end of the day you should be really happy because the debt to GDP ratio projected at 66% for this year and declining to 63.5% in 2019. Wow, isn't that just wonderful? So you continue on waiting for your urgent appointment, waiting in pain and all of that, because don't worry, the GDP is okay. Vast areas of rural Ireland are still without a reliable high-speed broadband and connectivity, even the mobile phone coverage. We had the Western Development Commission down there 2 hours ago, again looking at all the infrastructure deficits in rural Ireland. These are problems that need investment right now. And you see, the trouble is, Minister, you see, investing in capital projects, whether it be in Knock Airport in the development of the strategic zone around that, or the Western Rail Corridor, or Merlin Park Hospital, and all of these things in capital infrastructure, it's not a zero-sum game. This is the multiplier effect that is added to capital investment like these projects, That is what's going to protect us. That is the roof that's going to be there if we have another economic crisis. Not saying, well, we've stashed away so many million that we can give to the bankers when they mess up again, because indeed we know, and we know from the Finance Committee, that nothing has changed in the culture of our banking system, of our auditing system, and all of that. They will do the same thing all over again. We have the situation with our vulture funds, where the red carpet is rolled out for them by government, and they get charitable status for vulture funds. Like, you just couldn't make it up. All of those millions that could be put into infrastructure that's vitally needed. But we have shown as a party how we can invest in the areas like in rural Ireland, and by using the fiscal rules ensure that there would be a government surplus in 2021. There's only 12 months of a difference between our target time of reaching this point and the government's. Now, this time and the fiscal space could be used to tackle those problems and leave people who are working every available hour they can that are barely managing to get by. And you see, this full employment business drives me crazy. And there's two reasons it does. Firstly, because there are areas within my own constituency where we have 30% plus unemployment. We have huge youth unemployment. And we have people who are working every hour of every day and they cannot pay their basic bills. They're looking around to see whether they can bring their child to the doctor or not. So we shouldn't be congratulating ourselves on that we have full employment when people cannot earn enough to pay their own basic bills. Sinn Féin will have the back of these people. We will ensure that investment in areas such as childcare means that reduced costs will encourage more working women and parents back into the workforce. You see, I'll give you one example of why this drives me crazy. You see, even in terms of our autism services, we have children and young people, fantastic young people, who have an autistic condition. They are wonderfully talented people, many of them, who could specialise in the development and indeed do a lot better job than some of our ministers do and some of the people in these houses. Were they given the opportunity? Were the investments made for the diagnosis, for the early intervention, to encourage their unique talents that they have, that they can contribute to our economy and to our innovation and all of that? To me, that is worthwhile spending. That is spending that you will get back tenfold and tenfold and tenfold. There has to be imagination and creativity around how we approach all of these things. I have much more to say, Minister, but I'll leave it for another day. But there is a different way. There are different choices to be made. And taking lectures from Fianna Fáil around how to run the economy, well, I'll leave it at that.